I got a Desi feeling. I got a Desi feeling. Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? I'm JABYBHAI, joined by STEPH.
Hello.
What up, bruh?
What up?
So, we got Gadar 2 teaser that just dropped. However, I do not recall Gadar 1, even if I should. Actually, me at the comments, I don't remember this. So we're gonna look at both. However, if there's any kind of copyright issues with Gadar 1, you may not see our reaction to it here on YouTube. You might have to go to Patreon or become a member. I don't know if there's gonna be any issues. There shouldn't be. But just letting you know in advance. You never know what could happen. So if you guys haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button, bell icon, all notifications. Pretty please vote this up. Let YouTube know you're enjoying what you're watching. And while you're subscribing and upvoting, comment and let us know if you'd like to see Steph and Andrew do a reaction to Gadar Ekprem Kata, or, you know, somebody from this channel. Let's see. There's no captions on the first one. Heads up, so we're going to have to just kind of wing this one. And here we go. Oh, this looks older. That's a classic actor.
तुम्हें इस्लाम कबूल है?
कबूल है तो ठीक है कहो हिंदुस्तान मुर्दाबाद अशरफ अलैहि हमारा हिंदुस्तान जिंदाबाद
Hindustan, you know what that means? It means it's the original name for India. So they're saying India, basically.
जिंदाबाद है और जिंदाबाद रहेगा हिंदुस्तान जिंदाबाद
Okay, I'm gathering that we're dealing with patriotism. Perhaps there's a fight at the border.
No.
रो या चीहो रहना अब तुम्हें पाकिस्तान में ही है
बाप बनकर बेटी को विदा कर दीजिए मैं नफरत भुला चुका हूँ आप भी भुला दीजिए
नफरत भुला दूं अगर मेरा बस चले तो एक एक हिंदुस्तानी को गोली से उड़ा दूं
हम हिंदुस्तानियों की वजह से आप लोगों का वजूद है बंटवारे के वक्त हम लोगों ने आप लोगों को 65 करोड़ रुपए दिए थे तब जाकर आपके सर पर तरपाल आई थी बरसात से बचने की हैसियत नहीं और गोलीबारी की बात कर रहे हैं आप लोग
अमीने मार डालूंगा तुझे
Okay, definitely a border situation. Whoa, whoa, whoa! That was practical, yo.
Jeez.
That's all practical. I don't think any of that's digital. Okay, let's cycle back through this real quick afterwards. Ooh, 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 ooh.
Uh-oh.
Ooh, ooh.
Yeah.
That sounded nasty. So my instinct was correct in that you're dealing with the India and Pakistan dispute of some kind at the border. Obviously, we don't have the dialogue because it's not subtitled. I was just trying to like go off the emotion and kind of go off the visuals a little bit and try to. This is what we used to do on the channel. This is like a classic game, you know, the subtitle game. We do it once without the subtitle and once with, but in this case, we can't do it with. You obviously are well aware of the tension that's been going on between India and Pakistan for a long time. And so I guess this film is kind of diving into that. And I thought I saw romance in there. If there's romance, then I would imagine that you have this Romeo and Juliet kind of situation going on.
Oh. Yeah, with her dad. Maybe that was the dad, the older man who like has the best wide-eyed look ever.
Yes.
Like when you like look that someone said something trifling.
Have you seen him? Have you watched him before?
I don't think so.
Okay, yeah, because I can't remember if you've seen a film with him. I've watched him a couple times now. There's a classic film called DDLJ, which has been running in, well, it was running in theaters for like 25 plus years or something like that, SRK film. And he's in there, and he's got like that look. He's like the classic stares daggers guy, because like that's his look, and it's frightening.
Yeah.
I watched him in a film recently, and I was waiting for it, and then he did it. I'm like, there's the look. He's just like, I feel like that's what you pay him for, kind of.
Right.
Like, that's what you pay Sam Jackson to yell and cuss. Pay him to stare daggers. And so, okay, I already have a vibe for this. It's just, and it gets like really, really epic towards the end of it with the explosions and the practical effects, because like it looked looked like they genuinely rammed a train into the car. I can't tell if the car organically just went into the air like that or if they hoisted it up on wires.
Yeah.
But either way, it looked like they ran that train into that truck.
Right. That looked very intense.
Yeah. And so it looks very, very exciting and thrilling. And let's take a look at the IMDb on it real fast, just to see if we can extract any more detail out of the visuals. I'm not as familiar with the main actor, Sunny Deol. I haven't seen too much of his stuff. Ameesha Patel, Amrish Puri is the older gentleman, I believe, with the daggers. And it says set during the partition of India in 1947. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. A Sikh truck driver falls in love with a Muslim girl belonging to an aristocratic family. Okay, so there is a Romeo and Juliet situation-ish. I mean, I don't know if it's like they're on opposites. They must be on opposite sides of the border, but it also it might be dealing with class and religion. You know, I mean, he's a driver. That's not an aristocratic thing.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, it's different.
You know, this is crazy, man. I'm definitely down to see this just off of the merits of the non-subtitled trailer alone. It was made in 2001, I believe. Yeah, 2001. Now, please, you guys don't take this in an offensive way if you've never heard me say this before, but from my perspective, you know, when you look at any films from India and you compare it to America, before the year 2011, 2012, I feel like you kind of have to go back 10 years in order to contextualize it for us. Meaning, if a film is set in 1990 in India, like it was made in 1990, for us, it would almost be like watching an 80s film. If a film was made in 2000, it would almost feel like we were watching a 90s film.
Okay.
Yeah, this might feel older to us
Then 2001.
than 2001.
Yeah.
You know, because I watched that and I'm like, oh, that looks like it could have been made like 30, 35 years ago.
Right.
And it wasn't. It was made about 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, and so just to contextualize it for us,
Yeah.
like, you know, in terms of the look of it, which I like. You know, I love that it was shot on film. You know, because that's when they were still shooting on film. I love that it had practical effects. All of that stuff really excites me. So I'd be down to watch this. But you guys let us know if you'd love a reaction to that in the comments below. And we're going to continue forward here with Gadar 2. So they brought back Sunny Deol.
Cool.
They brought back Ameesha Patel.
Great.
I might be wrong, but I think Amrish Puri passed away. Yeah, he passed away in 2005.
दामाद है वो पाकिस्तान का उसे नारियल दो टीका लगा वरना इस बार वो दहेज में लाहौर ले जाएगा
Dang.
Wow. Okay. We got some crazy action going on too.
Wow.
Okay, so we know that's some sad stuff going on here. It feels like they've upped the ante in terms of the overall action. We only got a hint of the action from the first trailer. And so, like, we saw him pull the pipe out of the ground and kind of like drive it into somebody without any other action in the rest of the trailer. For me, it felt like that was just a moment of like rage and what do you call it? Adrenaline that got him to be able to do something like that. It's coming out of the gate with him picking up this impossibly heavy wheel and tossing it or whatever. And so it feels like it's going to be leaning more into that action. It's kind of giving it a modern flair with the way that this is cut and it's shot and everything and the editing and all that stuff. And so I just said cut and editing. I'm just repeating myself. But anyway, what's your feeling about all this? I've been rambling on for a while.
It looks very epic, like an
Yeah.
epic older. The first Gadar, the first trailer we watched, looks like this epic older trailer that you might see, and you're like, oh, I still want to watch that because the story has merit to it, and it's like you can kind of get away with like making things so dramatic and like romantic and like sad at the same time as having this action. And the second one, it feels like he's become this legend almost, and he's like coming out of the woods, like back at it again, but with this big wheel. I like the narrator's voice because it kind of sounded a little bit, I don't know what the word is, like, ironic almost. Like it was serious, but it was almost like as if she wasn't rooting for him, but acknowledged his legendary status. It just gave question to more curiosity of what the story actually is going to be.
For me, that doesn't sound like narration, but I mean, it's being used as narration.
Yeah.
But she sounds like villainous to me.
Right. Like they give him a grand welcome. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, I think a grand welcome is meant ironically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, to you, what you were saying. I feel like it's meant to be like, oh, no, let's mess him up.
Yeah.
Kind of grand welcome. Kind of like how the Joker would do a grand welcome for Batman. It's definitely a different vibe than the first one, as far as I could tell. The first one had this very classic kind of like a play, you know, whatever that feeling is that you get from watching a play. It had that kind of classic vibe. Dev-Das is a film that has that very classic vibe. The first Gadar had the same kind of feeling for me, or a DDLJ kind of vibe. Actually, DDLJ is kind of a weird comparison. More Dev-Das, right? This one, it almost feels like it's injecting a bit of Salman Khan kind of action. The wheel thing is just like, that's pretty epic.
Amazing.
You know? And so it feels like a different tone is ultimately what I'm driving at in a long-winded kind of way, which is fine. It's, you know, they're updating it for the modern audience. But I think that if it was me, kind of like Top Gun, if we were gonna have a revisit of a classic film, you know, something that's a staple of our cinema, like Top Gun, I'd want it to feel like the first Top Gun. And if you haven't seen it, when they did Top Gun Maverick, the opening was the exact same opening, almost shot for shot, as the first one, just updated. And they used the same music and everything. And that made me feel so good to see that in IMAX, right? And so for me, going into this, I'd want it to borrow a lot of the tone and the music from the first one to bring me back to that. I mean, that's the whole reason you do this, is nostalgia. And to abandon that in favor of a completely new tone is a direction that's viable and reasonable to go, and maybe that makes more sense. But if I'm an older viewer, that's what I'd want to see. You know what I mean? Both are valid ways to go.
I don't know exactly what date the original came, but this one was in the 70s. So, and the lead actor is older, obviously. So we assume that time has passed. So I get in the aesthetic it changing, but I wonder tonally if it will be similar.
Actually, that's a good point that you brought up. I didn't even think about that. The first one is set in 1947, and the second one is set in the early 1970s. I'm glad you brought that up. You guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us. Hopefully you enjoyed some of this randomness. I'm definitely curious about the first one, to say the least, and by extension the second one. Let us know your feelings in the comments below. Subscribe, bell icon, all notifications. Vote this up, please. I'm JABYBHAI. This is
STEPH.
Peace out.